Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Out in the forest doing nose jizzes.
Yeah.
Out at the Rose Farm, out too late after dark.
Yeah, out at the Rose Farm.
Yep. That happens. You lose track of time when you're doing nose jizzes.
Sometimes you gotta get laid and you're gonna risk death by werewolf. Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Arcadian.
Arcadian.
It means a quiet place, if you will. Like a box with birds in it. Box.
Essentially, yeah.
There are those who believe they came after the pollution people caused. And they're here to cleanse the planet of the human race. So we'll all become extinct. We have to stay vigilant. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right.
Like a silent area.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Hello.
I don't know what day this is coming out. I've lost track.
Right, we're recording this in advance because Dave is taking a vacay, so it could. Who knows when this is being released?
We could all be dead.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, but we were. I don't know. We could have seen fucking If, and you know, why see If?
Yeah, you. I don't think anybody wants to hear us talk about If for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to hear what we think about If.
We're obviously going to cover Furiosa in a bit, but like we had this like kind of weekend where it was like, I don't know. And so we thought we'd double back and look at some stuff that we were like interested in. And this specifically, I mean, I don't know why it interested you, Tom, but it interested me because I saw the reviews and saw that it got like very high critic praise, but very mediocre audience. So I don't understand that one about that.
You brought it as a movie that deserved more hype, so that's why I was interested.
I don't. Did we?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Oh shit! I don't think we did. I think it was just a movie. I don't know.
It might have just been a trailer on the list. I think we talked about it on Hypecast. Anyway, it's Nick Cage in a monster movie with the kid from It. The Jaden.
Yeah, it sure is. And you know, I mentioned Quiet Place Bird Box. It's I'm not saying it's like a copy of that, but it's of that. It's different. It's only in that like there's no like you have to cover your ears or plug your nose or whatever.
It's a family in a monster apocalypse. And the thing here is you have to be home at night because they come out at night.
Yes. Which you'd think they'd be better at that, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
What did you think of Arcadian?
I was pleasantly surprised by it. I really enjoyed Arcadian. In particular, I really enjoyed the performances. I really enjoyed the screenplay. And the monster design is fucking out of this world. Like, that is an unnerving monster. Yeah,
so I sort of, it was like a roller coaster with me, which is that I mostly really liked this movie, but there were every now and then there was little things that made me go like, ah. Like, I thought there was a few little plot things, and I actually had the same experience with the monsters, which is that the monsters were really awesome, and then they were suddenly lame, and then they were awesome again. And what I mean by that is, like, visually, they weren't that much to look at, I thought. Like, they were cooler in the dark, and then they started doing some shit.
But they're so
and I'm
weird.
Like, what the fuck?
And they never explain what they are or what they're doing or anything. So, like, it's such a good way to do a monster movie because that's where a lot of the fear would come from if you were in that situation. You wouldn't understand. Like, it does a thing where it starts clapping what you think is its mouth really fast.
The snapping, you're like, what the fuck?
It's like, what the fuck is it doing?
Like, when they make a wheel of monsters, that was
they do all this weird, cool. Like, they kind of look like they have a person face, but then it folds out. They have, like, proboscises. Like, they look like kind of insectile a little bit.
Yeah.
Man.
The part when it reaches in and you think like, okay, that's as far as it gets. Oh, no, it can reach farther. Oh, nope, it can reach farther.
Even farther. Yeah, we do not
unfurling.
We don't know what the monsters can do or what they're doing in any given moment.
It's heavily implied that the monsters are people.
Yes, yeah.
That have been turned. They do a kind of a sweaty exposition, but it's whatever. Where the two teenagers are like, let's describe the plot in 30 seconds.
It was a little sweaty, but I liked how efficient it was in terms of there's something very subtle that happens where, they're like, yeah, okay, we'll play the game. Tell us how you think the apocalypse, your story of the apocalypse in 10 seconds. And she goes first and she immediately is like, yeah, there was a bomb and then everybody died. And then these insects came out and it mutated the insects and they bit people and the people mutated into these monsters. And now we have to hide. And he's like, wow, you must have had that one ready. And then it's his turn, and he kind of stumbles through this weird, fumbling explanation. And they're both have been born in the apocalypse. She is from a wealthy family and she's like read books and been taught things. He doesn't have an education about anything other than survival. So like the subtlety of that is what she said is probably what happened.
Yes.
Because he's like, wow, you just must have had that ready. It's probably because she was reciting what she learned happened.
Yeah, she was taught that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's a very obvious allegory of climate change, because it's two kids who were born into this apocalypse, like you said, and this is like just the world they know. And there's like he asks Nicolas Cage, he's like, what do you think is going to happen? And Nicolas Cage basically says, like, I think the heroes will show up and save us. He's being very optimistic because, he wants to.
What else can you do?
Exactly, for his kids. And then they even say they would think it was caused by pollution. And then spoilers at the very end. Spoilers. When it's just the teenagers, they're like, we should rebuild it. And he says, I don't want to rebuild it. I want to build something new. And so it's like a very clear allegory for like climate change and the generations and
the generational divide there. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. It was pollution. She said, not bombs. I misremembered there. Sorry. I've been playing / watching a lot of Fallout too. So.
Yeah, that'll happen. So yeah, the basic plot is it's Nicolas Cage, two kids, and these weird little boogans, and the kids, like I said, the kids they cut it really close going out at night, and they establish that, and I sort of get it, they're teenagers. It's still like, it wasn't that silly. It was just like, a little taking the piss out of the movie where it's like, come on, guys, it's so late. Like, I wouldn't be doing shit for the last like 90 minutes before sundown.
Yeah, I would never cut it that close to sundown. It's like, yeah, I remember how horny I was at 15, but like, even then, monster attack would be enough to get me home on time. Like the character, his name is Thomas in this movie.
You're like, come on, Tom.
He's such a frustrating idiot, but like it never felt inauthentic. Like it never felt fake to me. Like it felt like he was consistent enough with that being his character where he makes impulsive decisions. He doesn't think ahead, as opposed to Jaden, who's the quiet genius, but is more withdrawn and kind of weird and focused on the monsters.
Yeah, I think there's some lightly stupid decisions being made.
Of course,
that's
but
very
they're both 15 though.
Oh, I just mean all around.
Okay.
And I'll get into what bothered me, but I'll say that the movie was neat enough that none of that really mattered. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, even if, like the creature effects are cool enough, I was entertained. Like if I was bored, that would be one thing, right?
Right.
But it was entertainment.
But the movie moves. Yeah, it's not very long.
Yeah.
It's not a slow burn. It's fucking monsters right away. So.
I think one of the reasons why I think maybe audiences didn't like it, which is to me a strength, because it's so obvious when you think of it. So the inciting incident is, this boy keeps going to the Rose Farm, the older brother, because he's horny. Like instantly, like when he's like, you keep going to that rose farm. I'm like, there's absolutely a girl.
It's a girl
at that
he's saying.
rose
Yeah,
farm.
we all knew it. We're like, it's a girl.
There's no other reason he'd be going to help these fucking bastards.
Like every day, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's the idea. It's the apocalypse, but there's like kind of neighbors. It's clear that it's like, it reminded me of Maggie, that movie where it's like light apocalypse, which is like, it's an apocalypse, but we kind of can handle it. You know, like the world is more dangerous.
Yeah,
but it's not,
like a little like When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an apocalypse sort of, but it's being managed mostly.
For the most part. Or rather, they're just in such an isolated place that it's like, it's not hard. It's like zombies in Alaska, right? Where it's like, yeah, there's zombies, but it's not
really much of an issue out here.
Problem, yeah.
They don't make it very far.
There's a very Last of Us opening shot where he's backpacking through the city, and they never really explain it, nor do they have to.
No.
Where there's clearly like a war, the sound design, and it's like this wonder of these screaming, and you know something's fucking
sirens,
and Nicolas Cage is just bouncing. That's the idea.
He's fucking running. Yeah, he runs back through the city to the two little infants. Yeah,
it's the equivalent of anybody who's like, the city's too dangerous, I'm moving to the country. But but apocalypse, right? Where he takes his two babies that he has or found or whatever.
Well, it looks like there's a lot that gets explained in that shot. So he's running through the city with a bag on his back. So you can see he's like scavenging in the middle of this crisis, and he runs back, and the two little babies are hidden. So but he knew exactly where they were. So it's like he hid them there and went out to get stuff. They're both really newborn in clean clothes.
Yeah.
Right. Like we know these are his kids, and we know that mom has recently died because she's not there. Right. And these are new babies. So we get a lot in that.
It's cool because it didn't feel necessary. Like I would have understood the plot otherwise.
Yeah,
but it was good flavor because
it's
it was
a good way to
shot.
It's a heck of an intro. Yeah, that's a solid shot.
And for what is a pretty low budget film, it's but might as well.
It's still like the creatures still look good. Like the effects never look bad. It's just there's really only two locations and then the woods. So, But oh shit, what was I going to say? It was about the opening shot. Introduction to the movie.
I was going to go into what I thought was a good instinct of this movie.
Oh, I remember what it was. Just real quick. I suspect maybe the lower audience scores are because it's so ambiguous. Like it doesn't tell you what the monsters are or what they're doing at any moment.
See, I guess I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest. I think maybe they were bothered by the things I were bothered by, but I still found this movie very entertaining despite that. I don't know. I think you might be right. People don't like...
I personally really, like I said up top, I loved that it was vague. It made the monsters scarier because I never understood what the hell they were doing.
Right. And honestly, like, I don't know, Cloverfield, you know, like the people love mysterious bullshit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was too small. So what they do is they establish Nicolas Cage and these two teenage boys, real nightmare situation, him raising these two teenage boys alone in this cabin. They're jerking off on everything.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They are bored.
It's a CSI paradise that the whole cabin is covered in DNA.
Yeah. But he's recognizing that he has to kind of let them... He makes them do chores, but this one wants to go to the Rose Farm all the time. And he recognizes, like, he can't keep them cooped up here. But we show early on, every time he goes to this Rose Farm, he has to jump this dangerous ravine, which... That's not unrealistic to me. I was a teenager. I remember doing shit like that all the time.
I fully believed I would never die.
Yeah, never gonna die.
Would never die. It would happen to me.
No, why would it?
Why would it? I'm way too fucking smart.
Yeah. So obviously the kid falls in the ravine trying to get home. Nicolas Cage has to go out and find him, and the other boy is left at home. And the other boy traps a Boogan. And I will say, did that ever lead to anything, him trapping the Boogan? He dissects it. I don't think they learn anything.
We get a little bit of foreshadowing. He sees the little death flower and doesn't know what it is.
Okay.
Like he pulls out, it has like a human intestine and like other human organs, and then he finds like this flower. It's sort of like the Wilford Brimley autopsy in The Thing, where it's just like this, and that's what it looks like, you know, when it does the dog flower right before they burn it.
Right.
Like it kind of looks like that thing from The Thing.
Okay, yeah, I guess that works.
So it really
it felt like a detour, but it wasn't not interesting. It was interesting.
It was suspenseful, and I mean, it was
a sequence where he catches him.
That was tense, yeah. I think it's just ultimately it's more character stuff, right? Because when his brother comes home, Thomas comes home and finds that he's trapped the monster, he immediately lets it out of the cage so he can kill it, and he kills it because he's a big dumb idiot.
It's again very teenage boy stuff where he's like,
just,
"Oh, I want to kill it, let it out."
Yeah, it's just
like
more,
this goes so wrong.
Yeah, he's just such a fucking asshole, and he causes all their problems.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a real dipshit. But again, he's a teenager.
He's a teenage boy,
real teenage boy,
and he has a crush on a girl. He has a little girlfriend at the next farm in the apocalypse, and I remember, having a girlfriend and just putting my family through shit because I wanted to go see her all the time.
Yep. It's awful.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Teenagers with relationships are the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that far off, No. Like to me, I was like, they're born in this apocalypse.
So it's abstract to them at this point. Like all they know is every night we board up, the monsters bang on the door, but then we just replace the parts that it's so routine for them.
Yeah, that is a good point because my mind was like, shouldn't they be really safe? And I'm like, no. I was born in a world with cars, and I would run out into the road as a teenager. Like the mundane dangers you get used to, and so you start being careless. Yeah.
We have school shooting drills.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is kind of about that being raised in this brutal world,
being raised in a fucking nightmare,
as mundane.
Yeah.
And so Nicolas Cage goes out. We get this trap scene, which is what we described, where the monster reaches through the peephole, and you go like, and he reaches out and he's nowhere near the kid, and you're like, oh, he can't reach him, and then his arm like unfolds
like a cricket leg.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit, and then its finger gets longer and longer.
Yeah, it has this little like proboscis or whatever you call it,
and it's I found it kind of adorable because it's like, I gotta get you. And it doesn't quite get the kid, but it unlocks the door, walks in, and it's a trap. The kid's asleep, or so it thinks.
He's pretending, yeah.
But the narrative thing that I thought...
Oh, Dave, man, he's Henry. He's the Book of Henry.
Oh, yeah,
that's why he outsmarted the fucking monster, because he's the Book of Henry.
He's gonna do this elaborate scheme to have the monster assassinated.
He's gonna have the monster attack Dean Norris.
Yeah, exactly. But what
he's going to convince the monster to shoot itself.
Yeah. Oh God, that is what happens.
That is what happens.
Nicolas Cage is going to snipe Dean Norris and be like, "No, you're just a child. I shouldn't listen to you." God, that movie sucked.
We should watch the Book of Henry again.
We should. So the thing I guess I should have saw coming is that in rescuing the boy, Nicolas Cage gets horribly injured. I thought he was going to die right there and then, because that's the clear inciting incident, right? Two teenage boys and their father lose the father.
Dad gets injured or dead, and now they have to do it themselves. And he blows a bomb up in his own face.
Yeah, he sure does. So Nicolas Cage is kind of out of the movie for a while.
For a very long time,
that upset people. He's unconscious. He's not dead.
Maybe that's it, because they pushed Cage so heavily, and he's not really in it that much.
Yeah, I think that might be it. People thought they were going to watch a Nicolas Cage movie.
He's in Act 1 pretty heavily, but
I think they probably shot him out in a week. Like
maybe no, they might have. He's in solidly the first half. So maybe not that quick, but
yeah, I guess not.
I don't want to overstate how little he's in the movie. He's in a solid chunk of it. It's just he's out of commission for most of the film,
right? And again, it's so
Jeff
logical.
Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, if it wasn't played by Nicolas Cage, you would know immediately that this character is going to get injured or die, right?
Well,
it's really obvious.
Even when he is played by Nick Cage, like I'm sitting here watching the movie thinking, well, Dad has to get hurt, right? That's what has to happen here.
Yes, something has to
happen to him, so these kids have to figure it out on their own.
Yeah. So this is where I got a little, because this is the thing that rubbed me the wrong way. I'll get to, which is that so they have their hurt dad. They have to figure out what to do with him. So they take him in their golf cart that they have built, which was another B plot, and they bring him to the Rose Farm for help.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of adults and the kids. And they go and they say, we need medicine. We need help. And they say, we can't help you, but we'll take your oldest son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that's a deal. Like, that was such a weird
babies.
Oh, yeah. But no, I guess what I mean is that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know why, like, I guess that makes sense. It was just such a weird moment because it's not, you're right. That's what they want. But like, I guess what I mean is that if they had something to offer them and they said, we'll trade you for your son, that would make more sense. But in that moment, they're like, we need help. Our dad's hurt. And they're like, well, we can't help your dad, but I'll tell you what, we'll take away one of you.
Yeah.
And so you're left defenseless.
Well, the way they sell it is it'll lighten your supplies.
Yes. Which I thought it was just like, that's not enough.
No, it's not.
They're
it's
dumb
not.
kids.
No, you get there's a sinister vibe in this scene. The Rose Farm is sinister.
They were a little like, I think I got a handle on them, but it was they were like kind of, I don't know. I found them like weirdly ghoulish, almost unrealistically.
Well, they were the people who were so rich they were living apart from the apocalypse. Like there's a line about, the monsters almost never go up to the Rose Farm. Like they never get bothered by them.
Right. I think what I needed is a bit more establishment there because they felt friendly enough. It felt like it was like just a small family at first, like a couple helpers. When he first goes up and they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they're just hanging out and they're not like weird or paranoid. And like they just make that turn really fast where it's like suddenly he's in the barn tied up and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
That's because
where are all these goons coming from?
Yeah, the ranch
they
hands.
Have henchmen?
Yeah, they have ranch hands.
I think they're
literally the evil ranchers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like I figured out what they were, but it was like such a weird.
It took a while, yeah.
And
They portray them in a sinister way that's sinister in the direction of you're sitting there thinking, are they gonna like stake Thomas in a field and feed him to the monsters? Is that why the monsters don't bother them? Like you think they're hiding like some serious cult shit or something, and no, it's just that they're wealthy and they don't want to share anything.
Right.
They're just
assholes.
It
was weird. Yeah, it just felt weird because it's like they let him hang out. Like if they were like, I don't know, if they were like more concerned about him socializing with her or like it just like he's just going over to help them. They just felt like friendly neighbors at first.
Well, he's not.
And then they
understand why he's really going over there.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
they know what's happening and they're facilitating it because it's the end of the world. Like we have to,
I think maybe if they had a scene where the other brother came around and they treated him
mean.
Like shit.
Well, here's what I'll say. Like I think the movie did this on purpose and it just didn't work for you. And it didn't totally work for me, but I see what they were going for. It just confused me a little bit, but I get it now. And I wonder, anyway, before they go over there,
it does make sense at the end. Yeah,
it does make sense. And right before they go over there, Jaden tells him, I forget what his name is in the movie.
No.
Stuttering Bill, the Book of Henry tells Thomas, we shouldn't bring him to the Rose Farm because they're not going to help us. They won't give us any medicine. He's like, what are you talking about? I go over there all the time. They love me. And he's like, well, no, they're not going to help you because I wouldn't help us. And so they go over there and you're thinking like Thomas, because we've seen from his perspective, we've seen the roses from his perspective only. So he's thinking, oh, they love me. And they go over there and it's immediately cold. And you realize it's kind of like a cruel awakening to what the reality of the world truly is. And it's that it's everybody for themselves. Like we have the illusion of being neighbors, but when the chips are down, nobody's going to help you.
Yeah, I like that for sure. And I like, the idea that they'll accept him to come over and do some help to hang out with his daughter.
And
but they're not
form a
help
relationship.
him.
And then you overhear them say like talking to the daughter, like, oh, I'm sorry it had to happen this way, but this is what we wanted, so it seems like they were angling to make him part of the family so they could have kids, et cetera, et cetera. It's a big farm, Anyway.
As someone who grew up in a rural area where we built our house early and then a lot of rich people popped up around us, I do understand the dynamic of a rich neighbor. Like I understand that. I've had that. I've had that experience,
for sure.
Where like they don't see you quite with the same respect that they see other people. And so I get that. I just think maybe they didn't quite stick it. Like when the dust settles, it kind of makes sense. But when that deal happened, I was like, what?
It was confusing in the moment.
Yeah.
Like you only.
And then I think the kid goes because he wants to steal the medicine, or he wants.
Like he was going to go ask them for medicine. He was so convinced that they would just give it to him.
Right. I mean, the reason he decides to go along with them. Like,
right.
It just seems like such a dumb. Again, that's one of those moments where, like, I know this sounds dumb. It sounds like I want them to dumb it down, but I kind of do. Like, if he had taken the brother aside instead of choking him and just went like.
I don't think he knew he was going to do that, right? Because that's kind of his arc, is that he's impulsive and doesn't think ahead.
Yeah.
So I don't think he knew he was going to do that. I think he decided when he was in there, and he was. Remember, because they have that scene where he's sitting in his room with her. I forget what her name is. The girl.
I don't know. I think you're right, though.
But the dad bursts in and is like, "Oh, you can't be kissing," because they kiss.
Right.
And then he realizes it's kind of like a weird vibe. I don't know. It's just like he's getting a weird vibe, and that's what I meant by it being confusing. Is it seems way more sinister than it ultimately is. It ultimately is just they don't want to share.
Yeah, and they're going to punish him for stealing. But it just felt the whole thing felt clunky to me because it felt like everybody was turning on a dime. Like, you're right, so like I thought I was trying to justify and be like, oh, he was going to take the medicine, that's why he went. But I don't know why that teenage boy would go at that moment, even hormonally. I'm like, man, your dad is nearly dead. You dragged him here for help, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'll go with you guys and live with you guys. And it's like, what? Why would you do that? Like, that's so weird.
He makes an impulsive, angry decision. You're like, I'm running away. And then 3 hours later, maybe I shouldn't have run away.
Feel earned enough in that moment, you know, where it's like, he was like,
the conflict
my
between
dad is hurt. I need medicine. And then they're like, we'll take you. And he's like, okay. And it's like, that doesn't solve anybody's problem. That makes your problem worse.
I believed the conflict between the brothers because they're at each other's throat for the entire movie.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I believed that he would go with the roses in that moment because he's mad and he and his brother just got into a fight.
I think I needed more, like, if Nicolas Cage was more of a shit to him or something. Like, I just didn't buy it because his dad is wonderful to him and he loves his dad. So it just felt like weird to abandon him in that moment. And then the roses seemed like it's like this husband and wife and they seemed okay, and then he freaks out about the kissing, which is probably why I didn't pick up on the breathing thing you're pointing out, because like that does make sense.
It's like a not yet thing or something. I don't know. And then they go to sleep and then those guys rough them up and I was like, oh, okay, did the two husband and wife, do they know about this? Is this part of it? It just was like it all kind of confused me because of the actions. And then I was like, when he's like, go ask her, she gave it to me. They don't. No, they don't.
Just sort of, it's like,
yeah, they don't.
So it just felt like everybody was being kind of a dummy, and ultimately, like I said, I like the movie, so it's fine. But that's when the movie like started losing me a little, because it felt like a lot of conflict that was like kind of manufactured very artificially to me.
Yeah, the evil ranch hands sort of come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I think you could have, all the things you're talking about make sense. So it's like, I don't know, maybe they could have just smoothed it out a little more. It's not plot hole, like where it's like, yeah, people probably had their own motivations. It's, like this isn't that. It's just that I feel like it's almost like it feels like it was based off a book and there was a lot more internal monologues or something here. Like, I don't know. It was just a lot of things happening. Characters doing very loud things.
Yeah, I didn't get that sense. It was just a clarity thing.
Yeah,
for me more, where it was like I said, the big hang up for me is the evil ranch hands out of nowhere, and the roses seeming way more sinister.
Yeah.
Than they actually end up being. They're just shitty rich people.
Yeah. And then what they start learning is that these little boogans are digging. Which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the boogans, this is really good creature design, because like
they're great.
When you first see them, they're in the dark, and so you just see eyes and teeth, and it's like a nightmare. It's like Babadook looking.
It looks like a person's face, but then it ends up being like the top of its head, and it like unfolds. So it like made me think of Mimic. I'm like, oh shit, is this a Mimic sitch where they're like bugs that try to make themselves look like people? And they're kind of like humanoid tarantulas,
like werewolf bugs. Yeah,
but they also have like a plant interior. They eat people like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Their chests open up and this flower comes out and they just wrap around you and just digest you.
And that's again where the dip happens. When we first saw One in the Light, the scene where he's like, I'll kill him. I didn't think it looked good in that moment. I think maybe the CGI was a little rough there. And then once it started doing the snapping and started doing all the weird shit, I was like, oh, this is amazing. When they roll into balls, that was very funny, but also very fun.
When they do the Rat King thing, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, where it's like, did they practice that? How did they figure that one out?
Well, it's just, I love it. I love it. They just kept going for stuff that was weird. It's like, what the fuck is it doing? Because that's what's unnerving about a creature you don't understand. Like you're like, whoa, be cool. What's it doing? Yeah.
When it's not like, I like they're like definitely aggressive, but they're not like, they're like paced wrong. Like they're not attacking when you think they'd attack.
Right. They're so unnatural. They're very hard to predict.
Yeah. And then
in a lot of moments, in other moments, they're pretty easy to predict.
Well, yeah.
So I think he's going to grab that guy. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. He totally grabbed that guy. And then of course they get a little Deus Ex Machina because they're digging under as the Rose Farm is going to shoot this kid's legs or something. The creatures attack and everybody dies except for the girl, who doesn't seem that torn up about it. Like she's not happy, but
no. But I also liked that where they have her wake up. They do this cool where her parents get attacked by the monster, and that's a fucked up scene. And then it cuts to her waking up, and she's kind of walking quietly down the hallway, and she turns and she sees this like fucking hideous lump, and it takes you a long time to realize what you're looking at, and it's that flower folded over one of her parents digesting them, and she shrieks, and then it cuts to another scene, so you assume, oh man, she got. But then a couple scenes later, it's a Deus Ex Machina moment, but a monster's about to get him, and blow, and it's her. She blew it away with a shotgun, and she's just like, because she grew up on a fucking farm in the apocalypse. She knows how to handle shit on a farm.
Oh yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, there's like conveniences.
Yeah, I just like that they did what would typically be like, oh, now the teenage boys have to take care of her. It's like, no.
Yeah, no, she's fine.
She's fine.
The other thing that
she's taking care of you guys.
Yeah. They also have a Nicolas Cage shows back up.
He does.
So they get medicine
and
to
kills
him.
A monster with his bare hands, and we just like don't ever see it.
It's pretty great. Like he starts getting full on Mandy, which I appreciate. They do this fireplace scene, which is a cool scene, except I was like, you have a chimney open? Come on, guys. But whatever. The monster goes down the chimney, and then you think it's going to get him, and of course he just shows back up.
A couple of scenes later, he just stumbles out of the room covered in blood to do something, and they walk in the bedroom, and there's just this bloody pile of monster on the floor. We don't know what happened.
No, but we can make some assumptions.
He fucking gave him the penance stare.
Yeah,
my skull's on fire.
But and this all right, this shot or this scene is also awesome, but it's also kind of silly. Nicolas Cage's self-sacrifice, seemingly for no reason. It was very funny to me because what he does, he's kind of in a daze. So I understood why he was doing it.
Right. He's a burden. He knows he's dying. They're just going to have to drag him with them and try to give him medicine and try to keep him healthy.
Oh, I guess
that's how I took it.
I took it as also he's just drugged up. He's just like half... Because what he does is he gets up, he like attacks some stuff, and then they're like, he says to him like, we set a trap. We got to go. We got to set a trap. I would argue, in the time it takes them to argue, they could all have left. like they set an explosive device, and I was like, I don't know, crawl out the window. Just go. But they have to have this moment where they're like, no, we set a trap. Stay. And Nicolas Cage goes ahead, and he goes into the hallway, and he just stands there, and then the bomb explodes in his face. Like I thought he was gonna save them time. And he doesn't. He doesn't do anything. His death is not does not do anything heroic. He
I think
just
he
blows himself up.
I took it as the resource thing. Like, he knows he's dead. He's half blown up. The medicine they got, because these kids don't know what medicine is. They just got him a jar of pills. It's probably antibiotics. He just took some penicillin. Like, he's gonna die.
Yeah, it's not like a plot hole or anything. I just found it funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. But he does do a trap earlier. Remember when he like smashes the floor and you're not sure what he's doing, and then all the monsters come and they just fall through the fucking floor in front of him. Solid trap. Solid cage trap.
Yeah, it is. It was just funny because I do feel like he probably could have survived, but you're right. In the long run, maybe he still would have been a burden.
I think they were going to have to build like a sled and drag his ass around. Like, he's just a drain at that point. At least it's probably I'm filling in the blanks just based on his character and based on what all the other characters said in the movie. Yeah, you know,
where like a character injures their arm and then they're like, I'm a liability, and it's like, they're going to be this suicide. It's just very funny that usually they do it in a heroic way, in a way that like kills a bunch of monsters, and all he does is wander out into the hallway, like kind of fight a couple of them off.
He just stays there until until the house blows up. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just gets blown up with the monsters.
Yeah. And they do a really cool shot here because they get in the freezer and it's from inside the freezer.
That was nuts. That was such a cool idea for a shot.
Yeah. Because it also saves them money. Don't have to show an exploding
Don't have to show
house.
the explosion, yeah, but it's way more intense. Like, an explosion's a cool effect and everybody loves them because they're awesome. But like, they show it from inside this freezer as they're trying to hold the lid down, and it just keeps flapping up and flames are jetting in there. It's so
flying
fucking
all
intense.
over the place because the house is exploding around them. It is better Crystal Skull, right? Indiana Jones in the fridge. Yeah. It's like, you take that fridge scene, you go, okay, make it not a nuke, make it a realistic explosion, and shoot it better. And that's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's just, keep it inside.
Shoot it from the inside.
Freezer.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
They're struggling to hold the door closed as an explosion is trying to make its way inside.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
And then I think they still get attacked. This is where you get
get attacked. Yeah, they get on the go-kart and have to drive away. And yeah, there's another Rat King. Starts a flaming Rat King. Starts.
How are they propelling themselves?
They're just rolling, man. They're just rolling. They're doing monkey tosses.
Yeah, they're like, it's like a clown show. It's like a horror.
It really is.
Show.
Yeah, they all the monsters went to clown college. Yeah. They're just doing a tumbling routine.
It's so weird. I love it.
But it looks like a great big Rat King.
Yeah, these weird snapping monsters.
They're so fucking weird. What an inspired creature design.
Yeah.
Like, every aspect, not just the way it looks, because it's like 70% the way it behaves.
Yeah, I was about to say, the way they look when they're not like unfurling or anything, just them, I thought they weren't that great looking.
They're not great when you see them in the light, yeah, and it's probably intentional. They really just kind of look like shaggy dogs or like a tarantula person.
Yeah, it's when they start doing stuff that makes them so fucking
like, what
weird.
What the fuck is it doing?
Yeah. The snapping was the thing that I had never seen.
That is because that's, man. Because your instinct is simultaneously like you're laughing, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also like so shocking.
Yeah, for people who haven't seen it, it's hard to imagine. Like, it's like, when you like.
It's the best way to describe it is a rattlesnake, I think.
It's mechanical almost. It's like the snapping of like something breaking almost. Like when you take a toy that's supposed to walk a certain way and you push it the other way and it like clicks. It's like this rapid, almost metallic clacking.
Like, imagine an animal shaking its head around to make its teeth clack like a rattlesnake's tail. Like, that's what it's doing. It's fucked up and weird.
And it does it before it attacks, I believe, before it consumes
Sort of. Sometimes.
Like, I think a lot of times
that's like the signal
when it's clacking. Yeah, like, and then they'll like attack it.
Yeah, its chest opens up and the flower. Yeah. Ugh. We only see that once, by the way. It's not like a repeated thing. It's just from that point on, we know teeth clacking is bad.
It's a really good use of every part of the monster because, like I said, when the monster is mysterious at first, we show very little. We show the hands, and we show like the smile and the eyes in the dark that sort of glow. And again, we realize it's not exactly eyes. It's just that that's like the
design
white part
on
of
its
it.
head. Yeah.
It's like trying to camouflage itself very poorly, where it's like, I'm a human too. Look at my giant Cheshire cat smile. And it's like, oh, you did it wrong.
You did it wrong. You did it wrong. He never gets the faces right.
So like it starts that way. So they're like, it's almost like ghostly, where it's like, what the fuck is that?
We don't even.
Is that a phantom?
I don't think we see the first monster until like the 45-minute mark. It's like halfway.
Yeah, it's the halfway point, because that's when it's when the dad is injured. That's the halfway point.
Yeah, it's the nighttime scene. It's the first time we see them.
Yeah, the trapping scene, I would say, like, you don't really see it that much.
You see its arm. Yeah, arm. They do such a cool thing where even in the scene where like they let him out of the cage, you still don't really see it that well until it comes out from under the bed. But they do a really good job of concealing it, and it's like Jaws, like, because the monsters are there, like the monsters attack within the first 10 minutes of the movie. It's just you don't see them until halfway through.
Yeah, and so in the reveal of like, all right, eyes and smile, then slowly
the slow reveal,
arm.
When Thomas gets the first one, when he's down in the what is basically the insect cave from King Kong, the insect ravine. When he finds that first one, it's like when. It's almost identical to the shot when Ripley finds the alien in the escape pod in Alien, where it like stretches out and it's just it's tucked away and it looks like part of the environment. Like the first time you see the monster, it looks like part of the rocks until he gets like his light up, and then you see that fucking face, or what we think is a face, and its hands stretched out. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, remind me of Signs a little with that.
A little bit, yeah. This movie is a little Signs-like too, yeah.
It is, like, creepy little hands and little boogans.
And just hearing them outside, like, wrapping around the walls and stuff, like, that was a big part of Signs.
Yeah. It's a very good slow progression of a creature reveal, where it's a mix of, like, it's a good design, but also, I think, the reveal, the order made it even better.
Yeah, they don't... again... They draw it out. They draw it out. Yeah, they reveal it a bit at a time.
If they just showed it immediately, I'd be like, meh.
It wouldn't be as impactful. Yeah.
And then it's not a Cloverfield monster. It's not a Quiet Place monster. It's not like that pinwheeling thing. You know, like it has like it's like walks on all fours. That's like the only similarity, that it's kind of a creepy crawler, but it's not. It didn't feel like. But it also has hands. Yeah, it didn't feel like a clone of the Cloverfield thing that we keep getting, you know?
That scene where its arm unfolds. Ugh.
It's very rare that a creature movie is good even when they show the creature. You know what I mean? Like A Quiet Place and Cloverfield, that was one where Cloverfield, the first one did a pretty good job at it, but by the end you've seen it. The whole fucking thing. Yeah,
it's so big that it's mostly abstract. But then they also had the little boogans in Cloverfield, which I think was a mistake.
The helicopter shot at the end.
Yes, when it eats TJ Miller at the end.
Yeah. There's I liked the little boogans when they first got revealed in the subway. That was a creepy shot where he swings the camera around, puts on night vision. Oh yeah. And they just look like giant spiders. But yeah, generally speaking, what these movies kind of, the moment they show it sort of dissipates the tension. Few movies have pulled this off. Alien pulled it off. Although I would say by Aliens, the Queen is more just awe-inspiring, you know?
I imagine seeing the Queen and the eggs and all of that for the first time was probably close to this. Like being like, what the fuck is that?
Holy fucking shit. Yeah.
Like that is quite an offer. Like we're just so used to the alien queen as a piece of pop culture that it's like, it's hard to remember seeing that for the first time.
Yeah. And really the only modern movie besides this that I think did it was The Ritual. The Ritual was one where it was like, where it's like, oh, maybe it's better not to see it. And then you see it and you're like, nope, that's worse. It's worse to see it.
I'm sad I saw it. I hate that I saw it.
Yeah. I wish I did not see that fucking thing.
There's been a couple of good ones. The one in I think it's called No One Gets Out Alive. It's a Netflix horror movie about a woman living in a creeped out apartment building. That's a really good creature design.
Oh, I'll have to see that.
And I remember we liked the creature design of the Boogeyman. Last year's The Boogeyman.
Yeah.
But that one doesn't work as well when we do see him in full. But that movie was surprisingly good at keeping the Boogeyman concealed pretty much entirely. You see him in full like once at the very end, and that's really it. So there's been some good creatures. Oh, Cobweb was good, yeah.
But again, Cobweb showed very little, You
really don't see her except her hair.
I wrote a cracked article about how, like, an alien, like, in an actual ground war with the aliens, they would be pretty easy because they're just animals.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be like us having a war with cheetahs. Where it's
waging war against tigers.
It's like, if you're trapped in a closed space with them, but if you're like, I photoshopped an alien in a Walmart. I remember that because it's just like, you give them Walmart lighting. They're less scary. Like, it's just fully lit alien is suddenly like, oh yeah, we can handle that.
I mean, it's still scary. You'd hate to see it.
Yeah, you don't want to.
It's like seeing a bear. It's like,
exactly.
I don't know. I don't think I'm safe.
Yeah, like if aliens came to Earth, it's like, oh yeah, we could handle that. People would die. Yeah, but
it's like the end of The Mist.
Yeah, exactly.
After 2 days, it's like, oh right, the U.S. military.
Right, like yes, it wouldn't be good for a lot of people. Alien versus Predator, where at the end they're like, or Requiem rather, where they're like,
just nuke the
town. we can handle this, easy peasy. It's great.
Oh man.
So I don't know. There's always that question with this as well. Like that's a lot of apocalypses when you like think about it too hard.
Shaun of the Dead, right? That's the end of Shaun of the Dead. These monsters are just on game shows now.
Yeah, where you're like, how did we let this get so bad? Like it's weird to try to imagine.
Normalize all of this?
That's why I really liked World War Z. The book did a very good job at explaining why we lost. Do you remember that?
I never read it.
Okay. Oh, you should read it. It's almost like it feels like Michael Crichton doing a zombie thing. It's very like technical. That's what its strength is. It's nothing like the movie.
I've heard. Yeah.
It's like a historical account, and it goes into like this nerdy detail, and they talk about the idea of like grenades. The way a grenade works is the concussion of a grenade and the shrapnel kills you. With a zombie, that concussion doesn't matter. That shrapnel doesn't matter. They like explain why like our weapons, where he's like, the army isn't trained to shoot in the head. They're trained for center mass. So once it became a shoot in the head situation, our military I don't know how realistic it is, but it's a really fun explanation of like, this is how realistically the zombies took us. And he tries to justify it. Where most movies just do a montage,
Yeah.
They just yada yada, and then you're like, all right, I guess we lost. I don't know how. So it's kind of cool to listen to someone try to explain that. And I feel like I wish more movies did that. Like that period. I mean, there's A Quiet Place, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, I guess they're showing just the pure how many there are in that movie that I'm not going to see.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway.
It's weird because we have like most times I'm like, I don't want an origin story, but if you make it interesting, if there's an interesting reason why we lost, then that's cool to me. It just normally isn't,
No, I like when those connections are made for sure.
Yeah,
but we're getting off topic.
Yeah. I mean, this is all swimming around the same thing.
Yeah, it's all like, apocalypse fiction.
Yeah, I'll say like. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets lost in the shuffle. Going back to why audience didn't like it, we have so many of these.
We do.
And
there's a lot.
I got to be honest. Even though this is good, I'm like getting to that point where I'm like, we're all set. I don't need to watch too many more of these, or any more. It has to have a bigger offer, Like I don't need Bird Box 2.
Yeah,
I don't need the
Silent. I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. I don't need these. I think it already happened, Tom.
Did it? I thought
Bird Box 2 Barcelona, right?
Oh, but I think they were making like an actual Bird Box 2 with Sandra Bullock that just fell apart. I think. I may be speaking out of my ass.
I don't know. I'm sick of these. They all are kind of the same, which is like this family that someone has to self-sacrifice. It's usually the dad. I want to see a Funny Games version where like kids are the first to go. I want to see like a really fucked up version, I guess. That's the last version of this you can make, you know? But they all kind of function the way a home invasion movie works, plus a like, oh, this is a convenient low budget premise. I think that's why they make so many of them, you know? But
I think that's probably true, yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of worn out because they all kind of are the same. This one is exceptional.
This one was very good, yeah.
But it is still that.
It is. You know? It's very simple. It's not.
Yeah, it's still not, Quiet Place.
Yeah, it doesn't have any grandiose themes or message. It's a pretty straightforward one.
Because they all function on the same basic thing. Is you start with a family. You start with there are rules. Here are the rules, and then someone breaks the rule.
Yep.
And then it goes bad, and then the dad sacrifices himself. That's kind of the story.
Yeah, a rule is broken. You're right.
Yeah, I'd love to see a subverted version of this somehow. But yeah, still fun. I'll probably watch this again.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I probably will. I'll be showing this to people. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I've already recommended it to people.
Oh yeah, I think if this is your jam specifically, you absolutely should check it out.
If you like monster movies, this is a good monster movie.
Yeah. Oh, I meant even like the Quiet Place genre too.
Well, that's like a monster movie.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you like monsters in general, absolutely watch this. Just to put in your fucked up monster Rolodex. You know what I mean?
Add this son of a bitch to your collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Toss him in the sticker album. Oh, man. What a creature.
What a creature. So I think that's the episode,
I think we're all set. Yeah, we're all set.
We have a Patreon, folks. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. GAMEFULLY unemployed. We watch movies every Friday night with our patrons. But for just $5 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys. Those are all available for $5 a month. There's also a tier where you can get custom We Just Watched episodes, like this episode, but custom. You can make us watch anything within reason. Yeah. So check that out.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your little fake camouflage peepers on the top of your head onto that.
Yeah.
You tarantula person, you.
You little tarantula. I think if you might want to make us watch, like, I don't know, like your home video porn, it would be weird.
Well, we might.
We could do a review if it's 2 hour, if it's like movie length, if it has a plot.
Yeah.
You know, we won't give you good. We will
critique your snuff film.
Yeah. Let's not make that official. Let's put that in a hat. Gamefully unemployed. We will critique your snuff film.
Critique your snuff film.
I feel like that's instant arrest.
We should make the Dorito say that.
I'm never putting out the Dorito. The Dorito's never coming out. There's a suck the flavor Dorito. You'll never get it. You're never going to get it.
I thought we had that shirt.
No. Fuck that Dorito. All right.
I guess
we're done.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artnessbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.